in the time that you were at Recon, there wasn't really a lot going on in the Marine Corps, right? So I assume you guys were getting schooled out, hitting up a lot of different
Yep.
training opportunities. What was probably the most valuable school you attended?
Yeah, the 90s was marked with a lot of, not a lot for us, not a lot for the Marine Corps. Uh, we went to a lot of schools, did deployments. We went on deployments. We went on contingencies. I still think Ranger School
Yeah.
was the best school I've ever attended. U.S. Army Ranger School. Uh, it's just a leadership school, basic patrolling. They drill basics into you every day for 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in a state of exhaustion and hunger, and it's really a test of one's self, mentally, physically, and you're expected to endure and operate.
Did you
And you're
pass the
taught.
course on one time through, or did you have to come back through? Did you get recycled
Uh,
at all?
no, I did not. Thankfully, I would
Nice.
not have wanted to be recycled, and it was tough. It was a tough course,
Yeah.
but I went there prepared. I was a sergeant when I went, and you just take it day by day, take it day by day. But it was by far, I think, the most rewarding school I went to, because it instilled even further into me the value of basics
Mm-hmm.
and discipline, field discipline, priorities of work. Taking care of yourself in the field, taking care of your weapons, taking care of each other. I think the U.S. Army Ranger School, they're the elite infantry of the infantry. And I've worked with them in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they're a good outfit. They're some sound soldiers.
Yeah, I've known a few guys that have gone to Ranger, and they speak highly of it. They're like, the lessons you kind of learn there in the field, these are things that it's like, oh, you look at it, you go, why weren't we doing this already? Why is this a thing? It's just feels like common sense lesson learned during stuff like that. But again, that's the brilliance in the basics, right? It should be something that's very common, is very simple to understand. And once you master it, you're just at a different level. Yeah.
Yeah, and to credit the Rangers, they specialize in raids. That's their primary mission,
Yeah.
specialized raids. In the Marine Corps, we have such a large swath of different uh, things, from humanitarian aid, non-combat. I mean, the Marine Corps has to carry a lot with our mission sets. A Marine Expeditionary Unit, they're called upon to do a lot of different things,
Yep.
and they have to be very good at each one of those. Rangers, here you go. Conduct this raid, seize this airfield,
Mm-hmm.
blow this installation up.
Yeah, just keep it
So
simple, right?
keep it simple. Keep it
when
simple.
you've been on all kinds of levels of training, units and stuff like that. When you go out and conduct like a flat range with like a special missions unit, how much time? Everyone loves the sexy running around, shooting, running at full speed and shooting. How much time do you guys spend on just working the very basics of shooting? Those very basic skills, really slow, like sight alignment, sight picture, and all that.
Daily, integrated daily. It's just part of the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'll equate it to fitness. It's like warming up before you go do a 10-mile run, or before you go into a ring, you always warm up. I incorporate a lot of yoga into my life these days, into my training, and I do some sort of yoga every day.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, yoga, uh, it's the basics. And I found that through practicing yoga, I'm able to perform at a higher optimized level physically. And the same holds true with shooting, or anything, for any specific skill, I would say. You have to do your dry practice.
Mm-hmm.
You have to practice your stance. You have to do your magazine changes, your up drills, your down drills. You have to touch bait. You have to touch those every day. Before you go hot, crawl, walk, run, crawl, rock, walk, run is the
Yeah.
process. And you always take a moment, do some dry practice, visualize it, before you even do the dry practice. That's even a whole nother different level. It's just going off to the side, sitting by yourself, meditating and visualizing the task you're about to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around some very world-renowned marksmen, and they would spend a lot of time in a meditative state at home when they're not in the field or out on the range, just sitting, visualizing themselves at the range, visualizing themselves pulling the trigger and watching the round leave the barrel and go down range, hitting the X spot. That's the next level. That's the next level of performance.
They're trying to just fully understand every aspect of the action, which I think it's definitely another level. I would talk to some of the Recon Marines that we deployed with, and they would talk about, we shoot so much because we advertise ourselves as surgical shooters, right? I should be able to go into a room and not hit the good guy and always hit the bad guy. And you have to do that. You have to maintain that through persistent shooting, just being on the range and putting in that range time. And even taking a couple weeks off will be noticeable the next time you go and shoot. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why unit members, they're on the range every day pulling the trigger.
Do you miss not having that anymore?
Oh, I don't miss it.
No,
I don't miss. I found other alternatives in my life. I've substituted other things in my life to keep me active. But that was another part of my life. That was a stage in my life. I've transitioned from that. I don't miss any of it. Absolutely not. I suppose I miss the camaraderie.
Yeah, for sure. How could you not?
Being around that level of person that thinks at that level constantly, that everything we do is excellence. But that's a choice in our own lives as well, to surround ourselves with like-minded folks. That's a principle I teach, is surround yourself with like-minded people. So, but no, I don't miss that. That stage of my life is over.
That's an interesting gift, right? To be able to just close the chapter and keep moving on without thinking too much about it.
I think that's a practice. I think, and that's something we talk about at Camp Zen Commando when folks come down for different types of courses. There comes a point in time in our life where we're all going to have to hang up the pistol belt.
Yeah.
Maybe not. You could be the guy that keeps carrying that pistol belt until you're 80 years old. That's great. Whatever floats your boat, But majority of folks, they transition into something else, and that transition time, it's not always simple or easy.
Yeah.
Because you have to repurpose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the longest time, for 26 years, I was in the military. I didn't know who my true identity was, who my true self was. I just thought I was Recon Ricky, badass Marine jumping out of airplanes the whole time. Then I leave the military and I have to figure a new self out. Who am I? What's my forte? What do I want to do in life? And I think that's a problem a lot of veterans deal with. They have difficulty in re-identifying, repurposing their life from who they were. And I see that often. I talk to a lot of folks. I bring veterans down. I speak with veterans on the phone, and they go in a state of depression and alcohol abuse, drug abuse, and they lose themselves. Because that transition is difficult. And detachment is, we get emotionally attached to certain things in life. That we're humans. We get attached to things. We feel a need and a want and a desire to be attached to something. It could be a patch on our shoulder or something on our chest. We get attached to these things, and when they're taken away from us, whoa, that's heavy stuff. But you have to learn to be able and practice. Everything in life is impermanent.
Mm-hmm.
That's a basic teaching in philosophy and Eastern practice, that change is inevitable. You can have something this moment and it'd be gone tomorrow.
For sure. Yeah, that's 100% true. I think a lot of it is people get out, and I think some people get out and then they finally realize how big the thing that they were a part of really was. You know what I'm saying? Because you're around people for the most part, and if you're in units like what you were in, obviously people that want to be there. You know, that's like, I want to be here. I want to do a good job. I want to do better. If you're in a good platoon or in a good little team that has good personalities and you're all like, it's that whole, it sounds cliche, but it's that steel sharpens steel kind of mentality. Yeah. You know, even around all these awesome people, one of us is the worst, right? At whatever it is we're doing. And you never want to be the guy that's worst. So when you're around a bunch of awesome people and you're trying not to be the worst, you're putting yourself way above like the average person. You know, you're putting out more effort than the average person would for a lot of different tasks. Then you get out to the real world, and you can probably talk on this too in corporate America and stuff. And it just doesn't feel as serious. Like the stakes aren't there. Like in the military, it feels it's life and death, and I'm depending on you. And this is like, you know, it feels like these actions have meaning. Like we're doing this because of this. And then for me, and maybe it was like this for you, but when you get out and you work in a real job, like a regular civilian job, it's like, man, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing here? I'm improving somebody else's bottom line, I guess, or something. Like, it just doesn't feel like it was as serious or as an important role in my life, you know?
Yeah. No, I can relate. And the military, it's a whole different environment. You know, Pete, I think one of the biggest differences between civilian world, corporate, and military is what the underlying motivating factors that drive people. Mm-hmm. In the military, majority of us that sign up, we're all about, you know, God, country, freedom, the United States flag, and leadership. And this is just from my experience, leadership is a little bit different in the military than in the civilian world.
For sure.
Yeah, I think leadership in the civilian world is a lot more challenging than in the military. Yeah. You know, the military is a socialist program. It's a socialist society. It's authoritative. There's hierarchies. There's rank. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like creme de la creme of a socialist society, the military. Leadership, you know, at the end of the day, do as I say, not as I do. Instant obedience to orders. It's that simple. In the civilian world, guess what? You know, it's not that simple as a leader. Mm-hmm. You know, people are motivated differently. And that was one of my biggest learning points. And I'm thankful for when I left the military and I pursued something 180 different than government and military work, because it helped me grow as a human being.
Yeah, for sure.
As an individual, you know, to where now I can communicate with folks from different backgrounds, and not only communicate, but also understand them a lot better than, say, when I was in the military and I lived in this myopic bubble, this environment, you know, and that was my takeaway from the corporate world. And being a business owner and having employees, it's a whole different leadership. The principles remain the same. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. The principles of leadership remain the same. Just like the basics, tactics. You know, at the unit, tactics of a raid, the principles of a raid, they're the same at the unit as they are in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Leadership principles are the same in the military as they are in the civilian world. Okay? The only thing that's different are the procedures, the SOPs, the tactics per se, and the communication methods.
Yeah. And you've seen this at different levels, because while you were an enlisted Marine, you decided to go through the MECEP program, you know, the Marine Enlisted Commissioning Program, I believe, and you know, go to the dark side, if you will.
Yep.
What was the catalyst that made you decide to do that, and leaving Recon to go do that? was there a, did you have coming back to recon in your mind as a goal? Because when you go to be an officer, you're not guaranteed an MOS.
Right.